Chapter 1: The Endless Cycle of Rejection. Ethan Miller had always been an optimist. Growing up in a small town, he believed that life had a way of working out, even when things didn't go as planned. But as he entered his 20s, his optimism was repeatedly tested. Despite his best efforts, every date he went on ended in disaster. He wasn't unattractive, but he lacked confidence. He wasn't without charm, but he stumbled over his words when it mattered most. He'd scroll through dating apps, swiping and chatting, investing hours into conversations that ultimately went nowhere. When he managed to secure a date, it often ended with a lukewarm smile and the dreaded, "You're really sweet, but I don't think this will work out." The worst ones were the outright humiliations, like the time a girl laughed when he suggested a second date, or when another blatantly flirted with the waiter in front of him. Ethan began to wonder if he was doomed to perpetual rejection. Each failed date chipped away at his self-esteem, leaving him bitter and frustrated. Chapter 2: Hitting Rock Bottom. After a particularly brutal rejection from a woman he'd admired for months, Ethan decided he'd had enough. Her words echoed in his mind. "You're nice, Ethan, but you're just not exciting." That night, he deleted his dating apps, stopped responding to messages, and swore off dating altogether. He stopped going out, choosing instead to stay home, binging shows and scrolling through social media, watching as others flaunted their seemingly perfect relationships. Each post felt like a personal attack, a reminder of his failures. Ethan's misery deepened. He quit his part-time job, neglected his college coursework, and lost himself in a cycle of self-pity. He barely recognized the man in the mirror anymore, unshaven, disheveled, and defeated. Chapter 3: The Voice Within. One night, as Ethan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a voice, his voice, cut through the silence. "Get up." At first, he thought he was imagining things, but the voice was insistent. "Get up. This isn't who you are." "Who am I then?" Ethan muttered to himself. "You're not a quitter. You're better than this. Stop letting the world define your worth. Define it yourself." The words hit him like a bolt of lightning. For the first time in months, Ethan felt a spark of something he thought he'd lost: determination. Chapter 4: The Transformation Begins. The next morning, Ethan made a list. Finish school. No more skipping classes or ignoring assignments. Get in shape. He signed up for a gym membership and committed to going every day. Build a business. He'd always been passionate about graphic design, but never took it seriously. Now he decided to turn his hobby into a career. The first few weeks were grueling. He'd wake up sore from workouts, stay up late finishing assignments, and spend hours learning about freelancing and marketing. But every time he felt like giving up, that voice reminded him, "You're the best. Prove it." Slowly but surely, Ethan began to change. His body transformed as he built muscle and shed fat. His grades improved and he started landing freelance clients. With each small victory, his confidence grew. Chapter 5: The Rise. 2 years later, Ethan was unrecognizable. He'd graduated with honors, built a successful graphic design business, and become a fitness enthusiast. His social media, once a barren wasteland, now showcased his accomplishments and adventures. He'd gained thousands of followers who admired his journey. Ethan's success was not just external. He had cultivated discipline and resilience. His mornings started with workouts and planning his day, and his evenings ended with gratitude journaling. He learned to appreciate the process, not just the results. Then the messages started. "Hey, Ethan, long time no see. You look amazing. We should catch up." The messages were from people who had once ignored him or dismissed him. Among them were girls from high school who'd never given him a second glance, Some were the very same women who had rejected him on dates. Ethan couldn't help but chuckle at the irony. Chapter 6. The Tables Turn. Ethan's favorite moment came at a high school reunion. He walked in, confident and charismatic, turning heads as soon as he entered. The same people who once mocked or overlooked him now clamored for his attention. One of his former crushes approached him, her eyes wide with surprise. "Ethan, wow, you look incredible. I've missed you." Ethan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Really? I seem to remember you saying I wasn't exciting enough." She flushed, stammering an apology, but Ethan waved her off. "Don't worry about it. I'm doing just fine without you." Ethan's rise wasn't just about his physical or professional transformation. It was about reclaiming his sense of worth. He used his success not as a tool for revenge, but as a reminder to never let others' opinions define him. Chapter 7. Living on his terms. Over time, Ethan learned to balance his success with humility. While he enjoyed proving people wrong, he realized that true fulfillment came from within. He no longer sought validation from others because he'd found it in himself. He continued growing his business, eventually expanding into mentorship programs to help others find their own paths. Ethan's life became a testament to the power of self-belief and hard work. And that voice, it never left. It remained his greatest ally, reminding him every day, "You're the best. Never settle for less." Ethan's journey wasn't about revenge. It was about becoming the best version of himself. And in the process, he discovered that the only opinion that truly mattered was his own.